This video is brought to you by the FarmerKlein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to our Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Delusion. But before that, this video is brought to you by Big Joe Mehmet and Diablo del Toro. Thank you for being farm barons. So bear with me for a brief moment, because I have to say this. There is no delusion about how attractive the map Delusion looks visually, in my opinion. This map, I think, is quite attractive from a visual standpoint with respect to the rolling fields and the hills and the road layout and the town layout. There's no delusion about it. Thank you. The map, Delusion, can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let's read some of the description. Welcome to Delusion. It is a very hilly map, so challenge yourself and machines. The map is pretty simple, but feels spacious thanks to the sell points on the four edges of the map. Fields are medium to large size, so there will be no problem with large machinery. This map includes 127 fields, including meadows, 3 places to create your farm, a BGA, sawmill, 4 buyable forests, very hilly terrain, and AI splines on dirt roads for your helpers to deliver goods straight from the field. Now, this map does include 6 required mods. So in addition to the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps, that is additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. We're also going to be making use of the Amazon D830 pack, the double rod mat fence pack, the Dutch shed pack, the fence wall and gate. We also have the New Holland TX32 harvester and the small vehicle workshop. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find the main starting area is completely void of buildings, but you do start with your starting machinery. In addition, you do not own any land in those alternate game modes, and of course, your bank balances will vary based on either new farmer, farm manager, or start from scratch. Now, as our vehicles load in, you will see a couple warnings pop up. Don't worry about that. If you happen to have guidance steering enabled in your mod folder, you won't see those warnings because a few of our vehicles are already configured with guidance steering. Now, that is a PC only mod. If you don't have guidance steering enabled, though, don't worry about it. The vehicles will still work. It just flashes that warning initially. Once you save the game for the very first time, you'll never see those warnings come up again. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA itself. And I think one of the first things that are going to stand out is the field layout. Has a very Polish, Eastern European vibe that we've seen with the map like Sri Lanka, as well as other Eastern European style maps. This map does not include all the standard crops. In fact, we are excluding sugarcane and cotton from our crop listing, so we will not be able to plant sugarcane or cotton on this map. Let's go ahead and take a look at our lands area. We start out with farmland ID 42 and 18 in new farmer mode. 42 is the main starting farm. In any alternate game mode, you can buy this for $58,464. Now, in addition to the starting farmland 42, we have a BGA at farmland ID 133. That can be bought for $630,000. And then there are 3 buildable areas. Now, these areas will need to be cleared of trees before you can build on them. They include farmland ID 134 for $39,731, farmland ID 135 for $40,000, and farmland ID 136 for $57,788. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. We're then going to be able to take this farmland lease listing and cross-reference it with the field calculator field listing here in a moment, because the field calculator is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Now, I do believe that the farmlands that are associated with fields are going to line up very, very closely with the actual field sizes. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we start out with field number 5 at 0.78 hectares in size. Let's go ahead and scroll down through this list. We see several fields that are between 1.5 and less hectares, but I did see a few fields that are 4 hectares. I saw one that was 7 hectares as well. So we do have some larger fields in the mix as well. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the precision farming soil map is being applied to these fields. This map is making use of the French soil map that is a part of the precision farming mod. Now, if you have watched my precision farming videos, you do happen to know also that the French soil map is also the same soil map as the default generic soil map. So let's go ahead and see how they are being applied. With so many fields predominating the PDA, we really do get a very good look at the generic soil map. Field 5, farmland ID 18, which is our starting field, is a mix of silty clay and loam. You see toward the middle of the map, we have a big splotch of loamy sand and sandy loam. To the north of that, we have a mix of silty clay and loam fields. Then down to the southwest corner, we again have some loam and sandy loam areas intermixed with loam and silty clay. We also do have a custom growth schedule here on the map. You can see that listed here. And then let's go ahead and take a look down through our prices screen. And I will tell you that we do not have the ability to sell all the crops that we can indeed grow on this map. We do have olives available for growing. They are also listed in the custom growth schedule with respect to plant and harvest schedules. But we do not have a place to sell olives or process olives by default. So if you are looking to do olives on this map, you will need to put down your own sell point. Now, in addition to that, we do have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. Now, the story does continue down through our productions with respect to things that we could make but cannot sell. So while we do have a spinnery pre-placed on this map, we do not have the ability to sell any fabric. So we will have to put down our own tailor in order to then process that fabric into clothing or put our own sell point down for the fabric. In addition to that, we also do not have the ability to sell our chocolate. And we do have a dairy on this map as well. And then we also do not have the ability to sell planks, at which we also have a sawmill on this map as well. So 3 of the 5 productions that are pre-placed on this map will produce things that we cannot directly sell. We will have to put our own production down in order to further process the planks, chocolate, and fabric from the spinnery, or put our own sell point down in order to get rid of those products. Now, we do have the ability to buy bulk lime, and we also do have the ability to get rid of our stones with a debris crusher. With respect to the platinum expansion, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items without putting our own sell point down. We do have the ability to sell all the premium expansion productions and crops. And then lastly, if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability to get rid of our separated manure. We have a very light list of starting equipment. It's all owned. None of it is leased, and it all has well operating hours. We have a chicken pasture at the main starting area with no chickens in it. We do have contracts available on this map. We do not own any other production chains at the start. And this map also does have 20 collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at that starting fleet. We started with the Zetor Proxima HS90 small tractor. Then we have the New Holland TX32 Harvester that is paired up with the TX32 Harvester header. We have our 2017 pickup truck, the Welger DK115 trailer. We have the Servo 25 plow, the Rave EG39 cultivator. Then we wrap it all up with the Amazon D830 seeder. With respect to mods and DLCs, other than the Amazon D830 pack and the New Holland TX32, which are both required mods, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements. Let's take a quick look around at our starting farm. So we start just inside the gate here. We have our farmhouse, which is the trailer, with sleep trigger on the front. We have a maintenance shed here along the side. We have a 3-bay garage for our machinery. We have our silo system right here, so we have our dump and fill points. Everything is encased in this chain link fence. And then we have our chicken coop. So we have our eggs, we have our chicken buy point, 30 chickens in this base game building or pasture area. Then we have our food trough right there. Let's go ahead and take a look into build mode. And overall, other than the required mods, this map pretty much has all standard items. For silos, extension containers, and farmhouses. Same thing with respect to production. All base game stuff and or things that come with platinum expansion or pumps and hoses, as you see here. Greenhouse, orchards, generators, pretty much the same with respect to animals as well. Now we do have various new ground textures or custom ground textures. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. We have our asphalt, which looks a lot like dirt. We have then, well, pavers. It's also listed as asphalt. A different kind of paver. Some more pavers. Well, we have then the lattice work type pavers. We have stamped concrete. All of those say asphalt on them. Then we have dirt, another form of dirt. We have then, well, more block type pavers. Dry grass, another form of dry grass. Gravel, gravel, more gravel, and the endless list of gravel will continue. More kind of stone pavers going on here. Animal mud. Actual asphalt. More pavers. Concrete. Some stamped concrete of different shades. More dirt. Really, I feel like this dirt texture has been repeated 3 times already here. Forest ground. More forest ground. More grass. And grass. And gravel. And rock. And granite. We do have a custom tree as well. We have the ability to put down a maple tree. Let's put that over here. And then there are some custom plants as well. So we have our big apera. Maybe I'll put these back here in the back. We have that one. We have that one. And that one. We have Popeye. Yeah, we have that one. We have big Rumex. We have cut grass. Grass medium. Grass small. Grass alive. Or small alive. Okay. We have small live Rumex. We have then our base game shrubbery. And then we have Edelweiss. Right there. Let's go take a look at these ground textures. It is always nice to see new ground textures coming to the game. I am curious though to see if these new ground textures are flat as a board or if they are giving off that 3D vibe to them, and I do feel these are giving off a 3D vibe to them. I don't know if it's coming across in the video or not, but they do feel that way. This one might feel a little flat, but okay. That one might be... it's hard to tell. We have our various gravels, some more of these pavers going on here. That one doesn't look so hot, at least in my opinion. We have our pavers. We've seen that one before. More of our stamped concrete. Not really sure what's up with what appears to be duplicated dirt textures. Then we have our custom foliage. So lots of options with respect to landscaping and customizing out your farm. And then we have the big tree. Now, with respect to can the farms be customizable, this is the only farm that is pre-placed on the map. The other 3 buildable areas are kind of wild. You'll have to cut down trees, clear out shrubbery, and such. And yes, everything here that you can see, including the fencing, can be sold. So 1 full point with respect to can the farms be customizable. Let's go ahead and just kind of take a quick pan around the map here. You can see the rolling hills. You see the kind of long stripped versions of the fields. Again, kind of giving that Polish vibe or that Eastern European vibe with everything. Also, you can see from the PDA, as the description said, the predominant sell points are in the 4 corners of the map. So that is to somewhat maximize your driving distances, which will then ultimately impact the overall feel of the map as far as size goes. One of our possible building sites is right down the road from the starting farm. That is located right here. None of the building sites are overly large in size. So that is something you will need to kind of plan your farm out, be fairly compact, or expand into farmland area. Up here we have one of our grain sell points. We also have a biomass heating plant located up here. Let's make our way across the eastern edge of the map. I like how we've got a lot of trees. I like how some of these fields are separated by trees, but again, will be fairly easy to merge together if you do want to make these fields larger. We have a sell point below as well as our dairy. Coming up to another sell point, we also have then our BGA directly behind that. And with respect to the biogas plant, you can purchase the land. And when you purchase the land, you do then own the BGA itself. As far as what can be sold here at the biogas plant, well, the BGA proper can be sold, but the bunkers are going to remain, as well as this 3-bay garage. Here we have the second buildable farm area right south of the biogas plant. And again, you're going to have to do a fair bit of clearing out of the trees in order to make use of that land once you buy it. We have our animal dealer and another grain sell point down here in the extreme southeast. We're going to kind of make our way diagonally across now to kind of pick up where this town is. Kind of like this map, we've got 2 kind of main town areas that run along 2 main roads. There are a couple sell points along this road. We have our fuel point. We have our spinnery, our grape processing. We have our dealership. We have a grocery sell point below. Then this is the third buildable area right here. Now, we don't have a lot of trees on this one, but you do have some shrubbery you can clear away. With respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, as I mentioned, there are 5 productions pre-built into the map. They include the BGA, grape processing, spinnery, dairy, and sawmill. We'll see the sawmill here in a little bit. So we're going to be giving the map a full point there. With respect to the ability to sell all of our base theme crops, animal items, and production outputs, we are going to be taking off a 1/4 of a point because of the fact that we lack the ability to sell olives, as well as fabric, cotton, and planks. We've got our sell point up here, down here in the southwest corner of the map. And then let's go ahead and once again make our way up the western edge of the map this time, looking across the map. We really get that sense of the rolling hills. We've already mentioned with respect to the farms to be customizable. Give the map a full point there because the main starting farm in new farm mode is pre-built out with buildings that we could sell if we wanted to. And then we do have the ability to pick 3 other possible building areas. Those are completely customizable once you tear the trees down and such. And then over here we have our final kind of grain sell point. We also have our lime buy silo over here. And then our stone crusher as well. Our bale sell point. In the extreme northwest corner. Now let me make my way back down to the vehicle dealer. That's where I'll pick you up as we get our Mahindra and do our drive around. Here we are down here at the vehicle dealer. We've got our nice animal statue, golden animals. We have our dealer trigger and then our maintenance trigger down by the service bays. Let's go ahead and pick up that Mahindra. This will also allow us to see where our vehicles spawn in when we buy them. They do spawn in right over here, right by the maintenance trigger, which is good to see. So here we have our dealer trigger. Decent sized area for vehicles to spawn in at, especially given the size of the fence opening to get out of the dealership. So while we have some decently sized fields, you are going to be limited to the width of this opening with respect to what you can buy here at the shop and get out of the parking lot. So just outside the dealership, we do have our fuel point. And then we have our spinnery. And we have our grape processing factory. Now remember, if you do want to process wool, because again, cotton is not available on this map for planting, you will need to either put down your own tailor or you will need to put down your own sell point, because by default we do not have a way of processing or selling our fabric. So make your way over here to our dairy. We also have a farmer's market sell point over here. So here we have our farmer's market sell point. And then we have our dairy from Belarus. We have our interactive icon, pallet spawn point, and dump point around the side. Then let's go and take this road. Let's go into first person view. That way we can kind of get a sense for the rollingness of the fields, rollingness of the hills maybe. I will have to say I do agree with the map author that this map is pretty simple as far as overall layout. What it's attempting to do, it's fairly basic, and that is not in a slighted comment. That is, quite frankly, a compliment for this map. What it does, I think it does well, aside from wanting to see, obviously, the ability to sell the fabric, chocolate, and planks, as well as the olives. But it is an agricultural map with some light production built in. We do have some small areas that we can expand our farmer operations, or we could run this on a multiplayer server and have 3 other players build out their own farms at those other little areas. There's plenty of fields on the map. Everyone can have their choice of fields. Everyone can help each other out during harvest season and such. And I think it's going to play and run very, very well for most systems. So here we have our grain dump. And then we have our biomass heating plant over here. Then inside here we do have a potato sell point as well. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique as well as ground textures. There is a mix of buildings on this map that are and are not using the newer technique. I've taken a look at the buildings scattered around the 2 town areas and the sell points, and overall they're not terrible as far as just old low-res textures go, but they are not all using the new texturing technique. The ground textures, a lot of them look like they were using the new technique, but I do feel that a few possibly were not. So keeping up with consistency, we are going to be giving the map a half a point with respect to that scoring metric. I don't feel that the buildings that are not using the new texturing technique and textures really take away from your ultimate enjoyment of the map, at least not directly. Now, for example, this building here, I would say this building is not using the new technique. Right, you get up here, that starts to really look pretty low in there. This, right, this shed and this shed over here, right, when you get up close to them, they start to fall down. But from the road distance, right, I think they're okay. Same with this set of housing over here. But then again, there is also a mix of newer kind of textured and styled buildings as well. So this is the northern town area. And then this road is what's going to take us up to the sell points in the extreme northwest corner. If you are going to be working on some of these hillier fields, I would advise working across the slope. If you try to work north, up, and down, you will likely need to have substantially more horsepower in your tractor than what the implement says it needs in order to overcome the slope. So you have a grain sell point. We have our bulk line by silo. We have our stone crusher. And as I mentioned in the flyover, we then have our bale sell point here as well. Let's make our way down to the extreme southwest corner of the map at this point. Where we're going to come across another grain silo or grain sell point. Let me know your all's thoughts on this map down in the comments below. So we start our third year with respect to Farming Simulator 22. This will be the first map that we have covered in 2024. We're doing some interesting collecting of numbers over the holiday break. And as of the holiday break, we've had more maps release for console in the first 2 years, or up through the end of 2023, I guess I should say, for Farm Sim 22, than throughout the entirety of the Farming Simulator 19 run. More maps have been released for console for FS22 than for FS19. The entire run of FS19. And we have at least another 11 or so months to go. There is some speculation that maybe Giants will announce a new version of the game releasing at the end of the year. But at this point, that is all 100% speculation. So again, we have at least one more full year or so of FS22. Quite a good game version for console players, I will say. We have our grain sell point. Now, I believe from a mathematical standpoint, FS19 still has a few more maps released for its entire run than there are PC maps on the Mod Hub. But of course, we also have the availability from a PC player standpoint of pulling maps from other locations. And it's just nearly impossible to really count the total possible number of PC maps that are available, just because of the sheer number of possible places that one could download those. Now we're winding our way down the southern edge of the map. We're going to make our way over here to a couple of these sell points. Very narrow road down here. My gosh, we've got bi-directional traffic. Holy cow. Pretty well done on the traffic spline to have traffic going both ways and not run into each other. As I said at the start, in my little Delusion pun wordplay, I think this map looks very, very nice. I haven't had an opportunity to do any real significant play testing, but I will say that visually, I really like how this map looks. So here we have our sawmill. We have our wood chip fill point. We have our dump point for our logs. We have our pallet spawn point. And we have our interactive icon inside. Right there. wind our way back over here to a connecting road. There's several meadows over here to our right. Here is one of those buildable plots we talked about earlier. Come in here, paint these shrubs out. Maybe clear the land, a little bit of trees. Here we have our grocery sell point. Kind of narrow in getting in and out of there. You probably want to come in with a smaller trailer. Let's make our way along the eastern side of the map at this point. Then we will double back through the town area where we started from. One of the forests is over here to the left. And then we have our BGA. We've already mentioned that we do have to buy the land before we can make use of the biogas plant. Here we have a second buildable area. This one will have to do a fair bit of forestry to clear off. We have our animal dealer. So we have our animal dealer buy trigger right there. Typically on maps you'll see a bale sell point down here, but that has been split off and again is in the extreme northwest corner of the map. And another grain sell point down here. Again at the extreme four corners. Fairly tight. Again, getting in and out of these areas. So I would not really advise really big or long trailer trains. Coming up, we have not only a grain sell point, but we also have a sell point for sugar beets. Located right there. I guess this is only a sugar beet area. I was a little mistaken there. And guys, that is, I believe, pretty much it. Right, we're coming back up to where our farmers market and dairy is located. We'll just take a quick drive through the town area here just to make sure. But the last scoring metric is trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked. I'm going to be giving the map a full point there as well. So that's going to wrap this map up with a score of 4.25 out of 5. Very respectable score. I think it could have been a bit better again if we had the ability to sell olives, fabric, chocolate, and planks. Right, we would have gotten a full point there. And then if we've had maybe swap out some of these buildings with newer textured buildings, then we would have had a full point there as well. Then that would have wrapped it up at a 5.0. So here we have our final sell point down here at the pizzeria. Would love to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below with respect to Delusion. Does this map have delusions of grandeur? Or what do you think? Overall, it's scoring fairly well. Uh-oh, traffic jam. And then we have onlookers here. Go ahead, you can cross the road there, lady. It's okay. It's okay. Overall, right now, the map has a score of 3.5 out of 5. Always encourage you to go rate your downloads. Give it a score that you feel that is appropriate. I'm not going to advocate that you score this map 5. I'm not going to advocate you score it 4. Advocate it how you feel it's worth. Again, you do that from the in-game downloadable content menu, regardless of how you downloaded the map. Until next time, happy farming.